Well, g'day everyone. Welcome to another Toolbox Tech Talk here on Sunday at the Smart Energy Lab. And I'm Glenn Morris, your host for today. So great to have you all back, and hope you're enjoying your Sunday or whatever day it happens to be in your part of the world, because we get a few international people dropping in, and of course Australia being a bit ahead of the world in terms of the time zone. Some of you might be sitting up in the middle of the night in some faraway country. So it's great to have you all here. Just a bit of a shout out to everyone about how to get engaged with this. You're welcome to ask questions and comments, etc. Just feel free to put them into the chat window as we go along, and that's all a great way for me to interact with my audience. But before we get started with my guests, and I'll introduce in a minute, I just want to flag that I will be running some courses next year. I've finished for the year. A lot of you have attended my different types of courses, my 5-day solar and battery training course, my 3-day inspectors course, for those who are really into inspection of systems, and also my crash course in the new battery standard. But they're all coming up again in January. So if you're wanting to join in those courses, just go to solequip.com and you can enroll. But anyway, first up, I just want to say today my guest is someone who I should have met a long time ago. My guest has been working in the electrical industry for the past 15 years, and most recently in commercial and load management solutions, before founding a company offering power monitoring and smart control systems. So it's my pleasure to introduce Sam Frost, Managing Director of Vista Power Technologies, to talk about the Smappee system. G'day, Sam. Sorry, Sam, I had you muted. The usual story, press all the buttons and it goes. So, g'day, Sam.
Hey, g'day, Glenn. How's it going?
Yeah, it's good. It's a nice day here. I hope it's a nice day where you are.
Yeah, it's going good. Sunny outside. Yeah, for sure.
Great. And, commiserations to all those people who are struck by another lockdown in Sydney, and anyone who's trying to go interstate at the moment. It's all just a bit of a nightmare, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, definitely. It's not an ideal situation at all. We significant lockdowns in Victoria. So it's a sad scene this close to Christmas as well. Yeah.
You weren't caught up in it, family coming from New South Wales or elsewhere?
I've actually got family in New Zealand, so it's been quite hard. We've just had a newborn baby, so 5 weeks old, and they haven't been able to come and visit her, which is quite sad. So I think we're waiting until about March before that bubble opens up, if all goes well. But there's a lot of unknowns as well, which is the hard thing about a global pandemic, I guess.
Yeah. Look, I'm a Kiwi too, actually, and travel there a lot for work, and haven't been able to go for a year, so it's been a bit sad. And some of my Kiwi colleagues who want to come over here, it's been really tough. But the New Zealand government's been pretty nice about it. Still providing free hotel quarantine for returning visitors. Anyone I think who left before August this year. So it's been pretty good for those coming back. So let's get to it.
Yeah.
Let's get to it. I just wanted to let people get to know us. So, but what we're here to talk about is this funky name, Smappee, the Smappee system. Now, tell me a little bit more about this Smappee thing.
Yeah, okay. So it is, especially if it's around it. It actually stands for energy efficient. So the company Smappee was founded by a bloke called Stefan Grosjean, and he was working for quite some time in the energy auditing industry, doing energy auditing across multiple commercial sites and for large commercial organisations. And after doing that for a while, he decided that he wanted to develop a solution that was more accessible to anyone to be able to understand how they're interacting with energy and using electricity and other utilities. And that's how Smappee was born. I think they did a Kickstarter campaign, and they started off with Smappee Energy, which is this device here. So it's an all-in-one device. It includes current clamps, so for grid solar, and so same principles and that sort of thing. So they started off with that device. Then there was applications that allowed phase grid and solar monitoring or monitoring additional subloads, and that's basically with the Smappee Infinity system, which is the latest and current iteration of the system. And so that's a fully modular energy monitoring and control system. So you can basically build the system out to what you require, whether it's single phase monitoring of the grid plus single phase solar monitoring in a home, or it could even be used for monitoring up to 4,000 amps in a commercial, a large commercial site across multiple levels or areas and that sort of thing. So it's a really, really versatile solution, and then leverages cloud reporting. So all of the data is stored on the cloud, accessible from anywhere in the world. And makes accessing that data really easy as well. So that's a bit about Smappee.
Yeah, actually, just as I asked you the question, we lost the beginning of the answer. Where did the name come from?
Oh, okay. So the name actually comes from Smart Application for Energy Efficiency. So SMAPPEE.
Got it now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good to know, because it sounds like a kid's toy or something you might do to someone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a name that you don't forget, though.
No, that's right. It is very good. It's not like Energy Management Unit 1 or something really dull. Yeah. There's plenty of those out there. A lot of companies call everything EMUs these days. It's just so annoying. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Need to add some flavour to it. Yeah.
Now, I reckon our audience is pretty keen to see what this thing looks like. And you initially sent me the raw components, which we'll look at in a minute, one by one. But you also sent me a pre-built unit, and I'm just going to cut to that so the audience can see it. So that's the pre-built unit. So there's my hand for scale. What's this unit here?
Yeah, so that's the Power Box. It's called the Smappee Power Box. It's that's essentially the energy meter. So it's a modular meter. It takes the voltage references, so it can take single phase or three phase voltage, and then it connects to what are called either the CT hubs or the solid core CTs. So these different devices here.
Okay, can we just hold off on those for a second? So I just want to take it a bit slower. So we've got potentially a three-phase supply coming in, but I've just got it set up on a single phase. So I noticed that you put some bridges in here. So you're bridging the phases so you can power it from a single phase. But if you're powering from three-phase?
No, so those that there is actually for powering the module next to it. So the output module, those are basically providing your voltage to pick up, say, some contactors or something like that.
Oh, okay. So there's our other two phases here. So yeah, I got you. That's so close to grey and grey. It's just a little bit. Sorry, I misunderstood. That's a dark grey and that's a light grey. Yeah, okay. This one kills you. This one doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. It was the panels. It was just put together for sort of demo purposes. So yeah, we haven't got anything labelled or anything yet, but that's on the to-do list.
Yeah, I should make the point. This is just a test unit. This is not a for sale. This is just a bit of R&D for help me explain the system to everyone. But I think we will be moving towards a pre-built solution, a bit more finished than this.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. So we've got our three-phase or single-phase coming in here to the power box, which then can output here on an RJ11, I think it is, connector.
Yep. Yep.
Yep, and that daisy chains to this device here.
Yeah. So that's an output module, so an optional output module. So yeah, the bus is it's a 12 volt power supply that is produced by the power box that feeds the other devices. So there you're looking at the output module.
Right. Okay. So these are there's two outputs. So it's normally open, normally close, or is it three?
Yeah, that's right. No, so it's output switch. So you've got your common in the middle, and then I think normally open on the left and normally closed contacts on the right.
Gotcha. Okay, right. So that's the two discrete outputs, and these can handle up to 5 amps. I think you told me.
Yeah, 5 amps. Yeah.
So you could actually directly drive something like an indicator panel off one of these, or through a contact to something bigger.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm getting the picture now. So this is power supply. This is some outputs based on some smarts. Then we've got this one. What's this?
So that's the input module. So it basically takes 4 digital inputs. So you can connect up volt-free contacts. From a pulse output meter. And so this device here allows you to also monitor gas, water, or another electricity meter that has a pulse output, and bring that data into the cloud for reporting.
So you mentioned monitoring. I noticed that you've got this device here connected to one of these. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so that's an intrinsically safe Zener barrier. Basically for gas meter monitoring, being that the gas meter is classified as being in a hazardous area, it requires an intrinsically safe barrier to limit the potential energy that can be fed to that location, so to remove the risk of explosion or spark.
Okay, so power, input, input,
Input.
right. And what's this flashing light here? What's this little box here all about?
Yeah, so that's the brains of the system. So that's the Smappee Genius gateway. So that device there is your connection to the cloud. So it communicates with all of the other devices in the system. It collects data and then sends that to the cloud for reporting. And it also has it also holds internal control or automation code. So if you've set up an automation, it will do that internally, locally, and then it'll also send data to the cloud for reporting. It'll retain that data for about for 48 hours as well. So if there's a short-term loss of internet, it will retain that, and then when the internet connection comes back, it'll transfer all that information.
Right. Well, I've actually got one unit here. Let's see if I can put it just here so you can see it. So the Genius this is the comms interface, or part of the daisy chain with all the other devices, right? Then we've got...
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so that's the RS485, yep.
So that's RS485. Then we've got these 3 other ports here. So I can see Ethernet, USB, and an antenna for Wi-Fi. What are these 3 for? Start with this one.
Yeah, so the USB port, that allows you to plug in, say for instance, a Telstra 4G USB dongle. If you don't have a local network available, or say you're using a system for energy auditing, and so it's a temporary system that's being placed on a location and then removed, you can use a 4G USB dongle to give it access to the internet.
Okay. Ethernet?
Ethernet, yeah. So that's basically for a hardwired connection to the local network to gain an internet access.
And Wi-Fi?
Correct, yeah. So the device has an internal Wi-Fi antenna. But if the signal isn't very strong in the location that it's being installed, you can also add an external antenna at that point there.
All right, so I'm getting the picture here. You basically covered all your bases in terms of comms. You can have your own dedicated, 3G, 4G dongle, wired Ethernet, or Wi-Fi to the local area wireless network.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, you really covered off on things. Now, look, I'm just going to come back to me for a second. So I've got a few other boxer tricks here, but I've just got to move this one out the way. So just hold on. And I noticed that one of these other boxes, where is it now? Okay, is full of very interesting looking things. What are these?
So that is the Smappee Switch. So it's a wireless switch and power monitor. So it will basically work with the Infinity system to monitor an individual appliance. So the usage of an individual appliance to within about 1% accuracy, and it can also be used to control that circuit as well, control that appliance switching on and off.
Right, so you can bring smarts down to an appliance level, not just to the switchboard level.
Correct. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it uses RF, so it has an RF transmitter and receiver built into it. It works about 10 to 20 meters from the Infinity system, and that can be through walls as well in a home. And then the switches actually build their own mesh network as well. So you could have, say, 10 switches, and they can bunny hop off each other to send the signal or to control appliances back to the Genius gateway.
All right, so this can talk to this and build a mesh network.
Correct. Yeah, it can bounce information across each other. So similar to a Zigbee sort of network. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. All right, and the last bit of box is all of these. Tell me about these.
So it looks like most of those are. So you've got the CT hub down the bottom right there. That's quite an important device in the system. That basically allows you the different current clamps to the system. You can add up to 7 of those CT hubs to one gateway. So that gives you 28 different conductors that you can monitor, and they can be a combination of 3-phase or single phase, and like a grid connection, sub circuits, solar, battery, electric vehicle, all of that kind of stuff.
Okay, and what's next?
So then you've got your current clamps there. So they start off at 50 amps, the smallest. So yeah, any of those should do.
It says EV on this one.
EV, yeah.
Okay, so a split core, so you can clip it around. Looks like it'll take up to 16 mil. Yep.
Yeah, and they're all millivolt output as well. So there's no dramas with high voltage outputs, so that you get with traditional 5 amp CTs and that. So nice and safe. And so that basically just plugs into the CT hub. So they have a 50 amp, 100 amp, 200 amp, and 400, and then up to 4,000. So with the Rogowski coils.
Right.
So okay. I don't think you've got a sample of the Rogowski coils, but here's one of them here. So it's for serious current monitoring.
Wow, this system scales tremendously. So from just your little domestic, cables up to 16 mil, up to, industrial size in a CT chamber.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. All right. And so I can see there's 50 amp, 100 amp in here, and we've got some 10s. No, 50s.
That's the whole size. I think it's 10 millimeters, and then 16 mil for the 100 amp.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've also got the solid core as well up the top there. So I guess for a tidier solution, or where there's not a lot of room, you can go with the solid core option. So that actually is essentially a CT hub and the CT into one device, which really saves space.
Yep. The perennial question: which direction is the grid when you see the L and K?
Yeah. So L is load, yeah, and then K, I don't know where K comes from in reference to the grid, but yeah, definitely L. So L would be your appliance or anything
Gotcha.
like that.
Okay. Well, yeah, that is very tidy because often putting CTs in a switchboard is just one of those, there's no room and they're going to have a battle, especially little flush mount boards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is very, very compact for monitoring. So this would be for three-phase?
Three-phase or single-phase.
Oh,
So
three single-phase. Okay.
you set it up through the app, you actually assign each channel to a certain load. So that could be a combination of three-phase and single-phase loads. Yeah.
Yeah, I did just start playing with the app today, and it was really simple. The way it just asked a few questions in terms of, like, I think I've got it here. Look, here we go. It just asked me, let's set up a Smappee, and then it asked me to point at the QR code on the back of the Genius, which I did, and straight away it walked me through the process, asking me what type of loads there were and etc. So yeah, a really nice setup experience, not having to use a laptop even, just do it straight from your phone.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lot of installers sort of ask the question, "Oh, can we call up so you can step us through the installation process?" But we never end up getting that call because it is very user friendly and step by step, which is good. Yeah.
I think you can add my name to that list because it's exactly what I asked you today. And then as soon as I opened the app, I felt a bit stupid because it's just answer the questions, Glenn. Yeah. Okay, so that's the hardware, and you explained a bit about the history of the company. So what do you see as the applications for Smappee system?
Yeah, so the way that it's been developed, being fully modular, is it can literally be used to monitor power in some apartment building, or just an individual apartment through to the entire, through to multiple sites. Being based, you can all the data, so you can basically report stations all at once or across multiple levels of a building. So in that sense, it can be used in any residential or commercial power monitoring application, really. Like I said, up to 4,000 amps. So yeah.
Could it be used for any form of billing? Is it what's the accuracy like on this?
It accuracy. So class 1 accuracy for the amps and the solid core CT, and the Smappee Switch. It also, so the Genius Gate also has a technology called NILM, which is non-intrusive load monitoring. So it'll actually also identify or loads based on. So that things is a to 90% accuracy. So what appliances are consuming a lot of things, but not that sort of thing's not consumer grade accuracy. Point of view of billing applications, Australia, you basically the meter has to have an approval to be able to be used in application. So this system isn't approved for that. For that purpose, it's more so for energy auditing and understanding energy usage and that sort of things.
Okay, yep, fair enough. In terms of the remote monitoring and reporting, is that a paid service or is that included?
Yeah, so with the Genius Gateway, it includes 5 years of reporting, or sorry, the cloud license. Then following that, it's $25 per year for that license, for as long as you need it. So yeah, so from the point of view of ongoing costs, it's actually very low for other players on the market and that side of things.
So we were just having a look at the monitoring beforehand, and I believe you've got it on screen. I'll just bring it up now so you can show it to people. So this is the monitoring platform we're looking at now, showing electricity usage.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so up here, so this is just monitoring in my home as an example. So here we can see consumption is 512 watts. We're producing 4,933 watts of solar. Always on is 279 watts. So that's sort of our baseline power. And here we've got the last week of usage. So the values look fairly high for a residential property. I've actually been doing some Bitcoin mining, which is quite energy intensive. So you can see here the solar there in green, and then the load throughout the day. The dashboard's really great. It's fully customizable, so you can create different dashboards based on your requirements. I mentioned being a cloud solution, you have access to all of the sites associated with your account. So there's even an interactive map where you can choose where you want to look, and you can click on that site and
so
bring up the data for that.
The installer gets this view, but the customer only sees their own.
No, so what you're seeing here is my own sites that I've got. So as a Smappee account holder, you could have 20 Smappee systems installed across multiple locations, and you would have access to all of those from the one dashboard. So yeah, say for instance, you're a city council and you had multiple assets all over a certain area, you could very easily switch between each location, and then you could also create like a common dashboard that shows real-time usage at each of those sites, all from the one spot. And yeah, as you can see here, so from the point of view of customizing it, you can move cards around very easily using the dashboard. You can change the size. You can add new cards, so electricity usage.
Wow. There's heaps of them.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of different options there. So you can look at your different loads. You can split the loads into channels. So for 3-phase, into line 1, line 2, line 3, or you can keep them as combined channels. Bring that data up. So yeah, it's really, really easy to create your own customized dashboard for for how you want to use it and that sort of things.
Wow. Yeah, I can see the power of that. I love the baseline thing, just showing you, what your standby is basically. 270 something watts you were showing before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's your always on usage. So you can see, when you're out of the house and not using, not actively using energy, that's showing you there what your sort of minimum usage is, or you're always on. So that is quite good from a point of view of trying to identify how you can reduce your costs and that sort of things.
Oh, great. Okay. Did you want to show anything else on the dashboard boy there?
Let's see. We've got water. So here you can see water usage there. You can see we've actually got a small leak. One of our toilets needs to be fixed. So you can see here that it's got this little baseline going right across there, and then more usage there. That's probably a shower, I think. So yeah, it's you can really delve down into how you're interacting with electricity, gas, water, and using it, consuming it, and so it makes it really easy to basically identify how you can actually then create some savings by changing your how what you do, how you use energy, and also looking at identifying appliances as well that might be quite inefficient, and working out whether it's worth changing those or updating those.
So let me get this right. You can monitor energy, you can monitor water, you can monitor gas.
Correct. Yep.
Wow, you've really got all the major consumers of energy in an average home and covered.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and and then you can also say you had a home battery as well. So the Smappee Infinity system, it has some smart integrations as well. So it'll actually communicate with some certain other smart devices. So Vata battery storage systems is one that you can actually communicate to directly. And so in the Smappee app, you can actually see the level of charge that you have. You can see how much power is being exported or imported to the battery, and that's the same actually for EV charging as well. So there's some integrations with EV chargers, electric vehicle chargers, that allows you to choose when the charger turns on or off, and also vary the load to that as well. So it's called smart EV charging, and so you could say set it to only use solar power during the day, excess solar power, and that side of things.
Cool. All right, so I'm getting a really rich picture here, and my ears pricked up when you said the Vata Pulse, because I've got one here in the lab. How does it interact with it? Is it directly through comms or through the cloud?
Yeah, so it's on the local network, basically TCP. So the Vata has an Ethernet port, so you connect that to your network. So use of the Vata storage system, and good to go.
Right. Okay. I'm getting the picture here. It's got lots of features. So I'm just going to go through a few more questions I've got. So we've talked about what you can monitor, but what about what you can control?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so with the output module, you can directly control circuit, suitably sized contactor. You could have a contactor installed to control your air conditioning circuit, so you could remotely switch that on or off. You can you could control a pool pump circuit, a pool heating circuit, floor heating circuit, all that kind of stuff that is maybe quite energy intensive, but you can create automations through the Smappee app to say, when excess, when exported solar goes above 1 kilowatt, turn this on, or when at a certain level, turn this off. So you can do peak load lock, reduce the peak demand load. Different things like that. There's also some integrations with electric vehicle chargers. So there's a number of third-party chargers, and then also Smappee in 2021, so next year, are bringing out their own range of EV chargers, and so those are able to communicate with the Smappee. You can set up an automation called Smart EV Charging, and your level of charge in the morning, it will excess solar power in the afternoon leading up to the night. Then it'll look at your tariffs and say, okay, it's peak tariffs at the moment, so I'm not going to charge. I'll wait till 11 p.m. at night, and then I'll continue charging from there when the price goes lower. So the things you can do there with control, and I think that EV charging side of things, allow some significant savings by installing. There's also so cloud integrations. So there's a platform called If This Then That, and that allows you to create integrations between other smart devices. So, for example, there's the Sensibo smart air conditioning controller, which allows you to set the temperature, the mode, that kind of thing through your phone. You could create an integration to basically say, we're using more than turn the temperature down an additional 2 degrees in the house or something like that. So yeah, there's literally thousands of different ways that you can use the system for smart control and that with other devices.
Okay, got a few questions around that. So, look, first up, I'm a new EV owner. I'm like 2 days old, and straight away I realised that having control about when you can charge has all sorts of benefits. So, whether you have surplus energy, whether it's cheap price on electricity, when you need the vehicle charged to a certain level by, all of this really requires some smarts. So the vehicles often have a limited amount of smarts in them. They don't generally have any price information. All they know is the time of day and the rate of charge. But you're adding that other visibility around, time of use tariffs, for instance, and the surplus solar available. So I can see that being a really big plus. I'm excited to hear about that one. The other is with air conditioners and, say, reverse cycle heat pumps. You can't just turn them on and off at whim. You've got to let them cycle, right? So how does it manage those sort of appliances?
Yeah, so there's actually a development at the moment. So with the heat pumps, I believe that there's a universal input that they can take. So I think it's 4 digital inputs or something along those lines, and you can send a signal to basically even ramp the device up. But it's not. I'm a little bit new to that area, but that's what I understand. And so there's some development being able to ramp up and down a heat pump using the to the, and with air conditioning, best practice would be to use say a Sensibo cloud to cloud integration.
Yeah. Look, I might help you out here because I know a bit about the demand response enabled devices. So DRED, AS4755, is a standard for control of grid connected appliances and generation and storage. And the DRED functionality has been mandated in inverters for some time. But it's also in a lot of air cons, and I wasn't aware of heat pumps as well. So that's great to hear. And it does give you, it's somewhat crude control, but it's useful control. Like there's 9 levels of DRED, and so you can do things like import energy or export energy if you're an energy storage system, or in the case of an aircon, you can do things like reduce your target temperature by a certain amount, or turn off the compressor but leave the fan running. All sorts of combinations are available, and DRED was really developed for the utilities to be able to control stuff, but equally they can be useful for smart energy management devices like Smappee to control stuff to the customer's benefit. So it's not just a utility solution. It's really about making dumb appliances smarter.
Yeah, excellent. I think we're going to have a session on a few things about it.
Yeah. Okay, a few more questions. Ongoing costs, you've mentioned that you get the first 5 years of monitoring included with the Genius and then $25 per year thereafter. Is there any other ongoing costs?
Only optional if you want to connect to your system. There's I believe it's about $100 for 12 months, and so that allows you to access all of that data on to create your own control systems like home. I mean the Gen it also has an integrated MQTT broker. So MQTT and so you can even direct Genius Gateway to integrate with other systems using it's a bit more. But for those sort of rough easier things, you can do a lot.
Okay, cool. I think you've answered my next question too, by the way, which was I was going to ask you about your market, but you already outlined that you can cover everything from residential, commercial to industrial scale, with the fact that CTs and Rogowski coils can measure from tiny to huge amounts of current.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
And so what's new on the horizon? I think you've also covered those ones too. So there's the EV charger. Now, was there something else new coming up?
That we're really is working with Amber Electric, who are a bit differently, and they're offering wholesale spot pricing directly to the end user or the consumer, and so they basically a monthly fee, and we're developing an integration with their pricing so that users can set up control based on the price of electricity. And when you get into that side of things and looking at the national energy market, which I'm sure you're well aware of, the price can go, typically it's quite low. Typically it'll stay sort of around that sort of 16-cent mark. However, there can be some high peaks throughout the year, and it can also go negative as well. So if it's really windy day with a lot of sun, and so there's loads of renewables going onto the grid, the price can actually go negative, and that means that you can actually get paid to use electricity. So it's a really really interesting space. And so we're actually in the process of developing an integration, which means that you could create a rule to say if the price 10 cents turn on the pool heater, or isolate the electric vehicle charge unless the price is 20 cents, that kind of thing. So that one, we're really excited about, and
Look, the electricity market is so dumb at the moment. It just needs these smarts. I mean, hearing that our Energy Minister, Angus Taylor, is talking about paying smelters to turn stuff off when actually you can, for a much lower rate and much easier to do, tell customers with price signaling to turn stuff off or control it, like charge instead of discharge a battery. So turn it into a load, which gives the customer a double benefit. They make money from it. They also get a full battery and they get free electricity. So there is so many opportunities to manage our grid in a smarter way. Once we integrate devices that can do that control and monitoring and interact with price signaling. So good on you. Good on Smappee and Amber Electric for coming up with solutions that allow the small player to play with the big guys in the wholesale electricity market.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Well, it's been great chatting to you today, and I've learned a whole lot, and I'm really looking forward to learning more about the Smappee system by getting my hands dirty and actually installing one and running it here at the Smart Energy Lab. I think we'll be back with another Toolbox Tech Talk once I've got it up and running and got some experience on the ground, and just to show how it's been going. So I'm looking forward to that.
Excellent. Me too. Well, thanks very much for having me on today, Glenn. It's been a pleasure. And looking forward to hearing your feedback on the system once it's installed.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll send you back to the green room and I'll just wind up the show.
Sounds good. Thanks.
See ya. Okay, well, that was Sam Frost from Vista Power Technologies talking to me about the Smappee system and all its variations. Apologies, there was a few little garbled words amongst there because of we are doing this over the internet. So hopefully you got the gist of everything then. But this will be available through the usual channels after this live event is finished. So some of you will be watching this later down the track. Feel free to ask questions even then. So even though you might have missed the live, feel free to ask some questions, because both Sam and I will be monitoring comments and questions going forward and pick those up. But otherwise, I guess I'll see you. My gosh, it's that time of year, but I think I might be doing another Toolbox Tech Talk just after Christmas. So Sunday, 2 p.m. Melbourne time is when I'm live here in the Smart Energy Lab. So I look forward to seeing you all then. Okay, bye for now.